Welcome back to another edition of the Coach's Corner. This video is going to be about the Vikings versus the Bucs, and really, for me, when I look at this game, it's just a must-win for both teams. I think so. And to get a win, if you're either team, it's going to be about which team establishes the run, and based off that, who can kind of open up the play-action passing game. Because if you look at Kirk Cousins and Tom Brady, they're both top four when it comes to play action passing and just how efficient they are passing the ball when they're able to open up that play action pass. And I guess for the Buccaneers, it's, is their talented receiving core and just their skill guys finally going to show their talent? I think that'll be determined for sure, especially against a young and kind of inexperienced Vikings secondary. So we'll see kind of what happens. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously there's talent all over the field in this one here. You look at the Vikings, a team that's, even though people wrote them off at the beginning of the season, they're still very much alive in the NFC playoff picture, especially with how things have shaken up. You've seen the Bears kind of slide. Especially you look at the Bucs. The Bucs are on a little bit of a slide too. Not a lot of people maybe want to talk about that, but the Bucs aren't exactly playing clean football here as well. So a win over the Bucs would really it would help the Vikings climb up the ladder here, and it would just tremendously help them and their confidence of being able to hang with a playoff contender. Because the Bucs here, I'm trying to find an NBA comparison for them. I don't want to say the dream team because it wasn't quite that drastic, but it was almost like whenever LeBron, went to Miami, that was kind of the consensus idea of how everybody viewed this Buccaneers team going into the year was, oh my God, he got Gronkowski back. Okay, now he's got Antonio Brown. Now he's got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He's got all this talent around him, but we talked about who's going to beat him, especially with Todd Bowles calling the defense, Bruce Arians calling the offense. You've got a very good defensive coordinator matched up with good talent on the defensive side of the ball. You've got a very good offensive coordinator with offensive talent. So where are all the wins that are supposed to come from this? Because we've seen them lose some bad games, right? Such as the one to the Chicago Bears. That's a bad loss for them. So in this one, I don't know if it's a bold prediction, but for me personally, you're going to like it. I think the Vikings can take the Bucs. I absolutely think the Vikings can take the Bucs. I think that they want to dominate up front and run the ball. I think Justin Jefferson has proved that he is arguably the rookie of the year, especially with Justin Herbert not having the wins to show for it. So I think Justin Jefferson is showing that he's the rookie of the year. Arguably the best receiver in this rookie class and it's a talented class. I think the Vikings. I think this is a big game for the Vikings, and I do think they walk away with the win.
Yeah, I'm gonna biasly say that the Vikings win this game, but I'm not sold by any means. I just don't know what to expect. I mean, the Vikings generally have played down to their competition, but I mean they're underdogs in this. I mean, I think Mike Zimmer loves it when they're underdogs because that's easy, whiteboard material because you can be like, this is what people are, blah blah blah. But I mean, I guess the biggest thing that scares me is were they able to kind of get healthy during the bye, and were they able to figure out what they were doing? Because I think it was Dan Orlovsky on one of the shows on ESPN that brought up a fair point, and that was that during the season you're so focused on preparing for your next opponent next week that you can't do self-scouting until your bye week. So you can figure out what you're doing well and why you're doing it well, and what you're not doing well and why you aren't doing it well, and if you can make adjustments to make it work, or if you just scrap it all together. And that's something that could very well happen, but that'll kind of be yet to be seen. I think the Vikings have played well generally in close games as long as they have the ball last. When they're on defense last, they generally, at least this season, they've kind of blown the game. But like I said, this defense is young. But I think also a thing that's going to hurt the Vikings is the fact that Eric Kendricks, the heart and soul of the defense, is out. You're going to have Kyle Rudolph that's questionable right now, and a couple other pieces that are pretty significant pieces of the puzzle that are going to be out or at least questionable, and they're key contributors. So it showed last week when Eric Kendricks got hurt in warmups that he's not only a tackling machine, he also is the guy that communicates the defense. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of affects the game plan, because also he's very good at covering like running backs and tight ends. So we'll see. But
yeah, I think looking at like you said, even though they are missing pieces, the Bucs are expected to win this game. I haven't looked at the Vegas line to see what Vegas thinks. But
they're
I think
7-point favorites.
Okay, so the consensus is that they're going to win this game. Maybe not handily, but they're going to have it in pocket, right? And I think it's a game that the Bucs should win. And just I don't feel like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Tom Brady, this is one of those games where he flips the switch and he comes out firing, right? But I feel like the Bucs or the Vikings, I think the Vikings kind of go along the lines of, with their wide receiving weapons, they could stretch the field on you in a heartbeat, or they could beat you quick over the middle in a heartbeat. They could, you've got two polished route runners in Jefferson and Thielen who could also beat you deep, who also have excellent high pointing skills. They're just two complete receivers. And with that being said, like much to your credit, you said, okay, if they've got the ball last, they could beat. Absolutely, because guess what? You've got guys that you don't – whenever you line up on a guy and he's a route specialist, the tricky thing about that is you don't exactly know how they're going to beat you whenever they're lined up opposite you, So I think that's going to be a troublesome day for the Buccaneers, because we're really each week we see Justin Jefferson just get better, right? We see him – as well as Justin Jefferson's played, we really have to start asking the question, did the Vikings win the Stephon Diggs trade?
Right now I'm saying yes. I think both sides are happy for sure, because I think that you can credit Josh Allen to playing better football, because they finally have kind of that true number one at the receiving spot. But I think he takes so much attention that Cole Beasley's been having good games, Gabriel Davis, as well as Brown when he's healthy. But right now I'm going to say yes, because I think for one, they're both good route runners. I would give route running actually to Diggs, but I think just attitude, like just being positive and upbeat, I would maybe give that to Justin Jefferson. And I think that if you're looking at ceilings, I think Diggs is still better than Jefferson right now. But Diggs has also been in the league for 5 years.
It's
roughly.
Expected. He should be better than Jefferson.
But if you're looking at ceilings, I think that Justin Jefferson has a higher ceiling. And I'm obviously a Vikings fan, but I think that if he stays healthy and stays on the pace he's at, he could very easily be one of the top guys in the league in 5 years where Diggs is at now. You know what I mean? So, right now I'd give the Vikings the edge in the Diggs trade, but, a lot can change.
Listen, I don't think it's too big of a stretch for you to say the 5 years thing, because you look right now, who's ahead of who in receiving yards, and I know that's not the end-all be-all of stats, but on close to 30 fewer targets, Jefferson has more touchdowns and receiving yards, okay? Mm-hmm. So, it's – I'm not going to say it's that big of a conversation. Diggs is the better wide receiver overall in terms of route running, savviness, things like that, knowing the game and the position. He's a veteran. He should know that, right?
Mm-hmm. It's an expectation.
It's to Justin Jefferson's credit that it's even an argument.
Exactly.
It's to Justin Jefferson's credit that he's ahead of him. And Justin Jefferson, you got to think he kind of played with a chip on his shoulder going into this year, thinking that everybody saw Jamar Chase. They didn't see Justin Jefferson. And, everybody said that Stephon Diggs is leaving. We don't have a deep threat. That's going to be, he's showing things in his game we didn't get to see flourish at LSU. And, again, much to your credit, you were the one who actually pointed that out in one of our first conversations together is, Justin Jefferson's a complete receiver. LSU just limited what we could see out of him. So now we're seeing this, and we're seeing a star emerge. And I think this star is just going to be difficult for them to – I don't think they could bottle him up. I don't think the Buccaneers will have an answer for Justin Jefferson.
And the whole, Jamar Chase thing, he put up such good numbers. And he's a good receiver in his own right, but he put up such, big numbers that Justin Jefferson got overlooked because Justin Jefferson's numbers were still mind-boggling, but Jamar Chase had better numbers. So it
Right.
kind of took away from Jefferson to a certain degree. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles, because for taking Jalen Reagor, I mean, I like Jalen Reagor. Unfortunately, hasn't been able to stay healthy. But Justin Jefferson was the guy that I wanted. I didn't think he would be there, and I don't think the Vikings didn't even think he was going to be there. There's a clip inside their war room where they were ecstatic right away. They like the person who did the draft calls didn't even have to wait for Rick Spielman to make the call for Jefferson. He was already getting ready on the phone before he even said anything. So I agree with you. I think that that Jefferson, you could argue is the X factor, but I'm going to say the true X factor is Dalvin Cook. It's always Dalvin Cook. Um, when he plays well, the team plays really well because those play action passes kind of open up more, which is more of what Kirk Cousins' game is. And so, you know, we'll see. I mean, it depends on what Vikings team shows up, but I'm going to be excited if the Vikings win the game. But if they end up losing the game, we'll see. But yeah, let us know what your thoughts are. Don't be afraid to comment in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out other content from the East West Football Network. Thank you.